All right, I have a question for you this morning. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? In recent polls, it shows that Americans are afraid of just about everything you can think of. Do you know that in our nation, 66% of the people are afraid of global warming? They're afraid of global warming. 33% are afraid of unmanned aerial drones being used domestically. So they're afraid of, the things in the sky flying overhead. 12% of Americans were actually afraid that the world was going to end back during the Mayan prophecies that were coming to pass. You remember, 12% of our population were living in fear of the world ending because of those prophecies. Justin Timberlake is afraid of spiders. Did you know that? Johnny Depp is afraid of clowns. Pastor Scott is afraid of clowns. Did you know that? I heard about a teacher this year, a teacher in the Cincinnati area. She had retired, she asked to be retired about a year ago, but they just transferred her from teaching French, which she taught for many years, over to teaching Spanish. She is suing the school district because she has, watch this, pedophobia, which is the fear of small children. She's a teacher, but when she's around children, her heart rate goes up, she begins to get sick, she starts vomiting, she's afraid of children. Now look, my heart goes out to her. That has to be a terrible thing, being a school teacher. But I'm beginning to wonder of how many fears there are right now in our generation. And more so than these things, I'm wondering, I'm concerned that we are rearing a generation of cowards. That we are bringing up a generation of children that are afraid of everything. I know there's debates going on around dinner tables all across America about whether or not kids ought to be playing football anymore. And we talk about all the potential injury. Names like Junior Seau are brought up, and these are very legitimate discussions, and there are legitimate concerns. But we're talking about letting kids never play football again, as well as other sports like hockey, soccer, baseball, skiing, dirt biking, snowboarding, all of these things. Another name, Caleb Moore. You might remember that young man that tragically perished at the Winter X Games in Aspen, Colorado this year. And so now it's brought up this whole day, is this stuff too dangerous? Even though that was the first death in all the years of the Winter X Games. And it's still tragic, and I'm not saying we shouldn't talk about it. I believe in safety. I don't know if there's anybody that believes in safety more than me. It was ingrained in me when I grew up in South Louisiana, and every day we wore camo and packed loaded guns. Safety was ingrained in our minds. My dad talked to us about safety every day. It was dangerous just to go walking out into the woods where we lived. And with snakes and alligators and all the other things you could think about in Louisiana, we lived there every day. We thought about safety, yet at the same time, we were not afraid. And I'm worried today that there is an obsession among parents about safety. And we're over-shielding children to the point that when they grow up and have to go out into this world, they're not going to be spiritually prepared. They're not going to be mentally prepared, emotionally prepared, because, friend, this world is not safe. No matter how much we want to be obsessed about it, if they go out there, this world requires courage. It requires toughness. It requires perseverance. And so these things I've been thinking about.